Friday night, it was all Cardinals. They won 13-3. Daniel Descalso, a big night, a couple of home runs, the first ever multi-home run game of his career. But last night, the Reds bounced back. Devin Mesoraco, home run number 1. How about home run number 2? His first ever multi-home run game. Reds get the win with Chapman closing it out. 8-3 the final score last night. And so today, the rubber game of this 3-game series here at Great American Ballpark. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Sunday afternoon edition of Reds Baseball. Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. Chris, when we look at the pitching matchup for this one, you've got to be intrigued by it. A couple of guys in their mid-20s, both with double-digit wins so far this year.
You're not kidding about that. Mike Leake is pitching like an ace of the staff. There's no question about it. But at age 25, he's already 12 games over 500 in his career. He's making start number 100 in his career today. So this guy has been paid big dividends back to the Reds ever since they plucked him in the first round out of Arizona State and took him right to the major leagues.
Now, Lance Lynn, this guy's won 12 games already this year. Reds have already seen him 3 times.
18 games over 500. He was a guy that came through college as well. Lance Lynn went to the University of Mississippi, but he's a guy that age 26. He's got just about half the number of starts as Mike Leake, but he's still been a big winner. It's somehow every time Lance Lynn takes the mound, the Cardinals seem to score a lot of runs.
Post-game show last night, we were talking about the great job that the bullpen did, and more specifically, the job that Manny Parra from the left side, J.J. Hoover from the right side have been doing.
You know, if you go back to early in the year, both of these pitchers, Parra and Hoover, struggled a little bit. There were some rumors about what are you going to do with them? Well, Manny Parra has turned into a go-to guy out of the bullpen. In the absence of Sean Marshall, he's the left-hander of choice for Dusty Baker, and he is not disappointing one bit. And J.J. Hoover's really the same way. He's a guy that did struggle early on. Remember early in the year, they seemed to pitch him every other day, and he kind of ran out of gas. Well, he's got that gas back right now. How about 20 innings and 26 strikeouts during his recent performances?
Well, if the Reds can get the victory here today, it'll mark their first series win of 2013 against St. Louis. They're trying to get this 8-game homestand off to a good start. And let's see if we can get Devin Mesoraco to continue to hit the way he did in the game last night.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A lot of sunbathing going on at Great American Ballpark on this Sunday afternoon as the Reds and the Cardinals get together to wrap up this 3-game series. You can see there are some clouds overhead, but it's going to be a beautiful day. Today's weather brought to you by your Tri-State Orthopedics. Here's Josh Knight from WKRC Channel 12.
For the baseball game today, weather doesn't get much better for the players or the fans. Temperatures just hanging in the mid-70s at the start there. We make it up to right around 78 degrees for that final out today. Lots of sunshine and low humidity as well. Going to be very comfortable for everybody. Weather not much of an issue. Go Reds.
All right, thanks, Josh. How about Devin Mesoraco and his performance, Chris, last night?
Well, he had his first ever 2-home-run ball game last night. He gives the Reds a lot of pop out of that number 8 spot in the line. If you see the numbers since July the 11th, he's batting over 300, and it seems like the more that Devin Mesoraco gets in the ball game, the better he does. The better he does, the more confidence he has, and the better he handles the pitching staff. The whole package gets a little bit better as Mesoraco gets more playing time.
Dusty Baker, he'd like to see his team come out with its 62nd win. Mike Matheny, he'd like to keep the Cardinal roll against the Reds going. Final game of the series coming up next. Ohio is brought to you by the Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling truck in America 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Jam-packed house here at GABP. They're out on the river enjoying this beautiful Sunday afternoon as well. Reds looking for their 62nd win of the year. Inch a little bit closer to this Cardinal club for second place. Meanwhile, Mike Leake will fake this lineup put out there by the manager of the Cardinals, Mike Matheny, today. Matt Carpenter, John Jay, and Alan Craig at the top. Middle three include Matt Holliday, David Freese, and Matt Adams getting the start at first base. Bottom three, Tony Cruz catches, Daniel Descalzo at short, Lance Lynn the pitcher. Carlos Beltran out of the Cardinal lineup this afternoon, and that group will face this man, Mike Leake.
Mike Leake's on a roll. He's one of these guys that throws 4 major league pitches, if not 5 pitches, if you want to include a cutter in that. But he mixes them all up very well. He throws his fastball, true fastball, about 89 miles an hour, only throws it about 43% of the time. He throws a cutter, which will go into left-handers. That's a good pitch for him. A slider that he likes to drop down and in on the left-hander's back foot. A curveball, which has been very good, and a changeup for him. Fewer curves this year for Mike Leake, more sliders overall, and it's really paid off for him.
Take a look at the Reds defensively behind Mike Leake. They have not committed an error yet in this series. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Xavier Paul gets to start in left this afternoon. Chu in center, Bruce in right. In the infield, third to first is Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto. Devin Mesoraco catches the day game after the night game. Mike Leake makes his 22nd start of the year, and for Leake, this is start number 2 against the Cardinals this year. He worked against them back on the 7th of June. Suffered the loss in that game, 9-2. Here he goes with his red uniform top on, trying to get the Reds the victory today. Matt Carpenter steps in to lead it off. First pitch right in there for a called strike, and we are underway. Game time temperature here at the ballpark, an extremely comfortable 75 degrees. Carpenter, who's in the throes of a hitting slump, as is Todd Frazier of the Reds, will lift this fly ball into center. It's caught out there by Chu, and so Carpenter is now 0 for 9 in this series and 0 for his last 21, and a good start for Leake and company.
You know, as you look at the delivery of Mike Leake, one thing you notice from the full lineup, you like his pace. He's very quick between pitches. He's ready to go as soon as the hitter's in there. But the other thing is you watch him tap his glove on his thigh. That kind of sets his pace of the delivery. It's a quick delivery, and that way it kind of keeps him going to the plate rather than trying to lull himself to sleep with a real slow delivery and then all of a sudden try to throw hard to the plate. That's in slow motion right there. But that little glove tap kind of gets him going.
He gets John Jay with 1 out.
And I've always thought that pitching is kind of like a dance step, that you have a certain tempo that you have to stay with. And everybody has a different tempo. Some guys would rather go slow. Others would rather go a little bit quicker. Leake's got a nice quick pace.
Jay lifts this ball into left center. Chu on the run. Chu will get there. Ball cuts in front of Chu. Red center fielder moving to his right. Corrals that ball, so he has 2 putouts here in the first inning. 2 fly ball outs, and that's what you see a lot of from Leake, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, but he's also a guy that'll get you some ground balls. This is a good play because you have 2 outfielders that have not played a whole bunch with each other recently. And, you know, it seems like every other day that Chu is playing with a different left fielder. So sometimes miscommunication can happen when that is the case.
2 out, nobody on. The Cardinals have scored in the first inning in the first 2 games of this series, so Leake tries to hang a 0 on the board here in the first inning today. Well, he had 2 starts, did Mike Leake, as Alan Craig bats with 2 men out. 2 starts on the road trip in San Francisco when he picked up the win in an 8-3 victory over the Giants, and then that game in San Diego where the Reds lost 2-1. He was the victim of the blown save. He just threw tremendous ball out there.
Well, he did. The Giants were scuffling at the time, but in San Diego, you know, that was a team that felt like they could compete with the Reds pretty well, and he was pitching in his hometown. So he had a little extra pressure on him there to try to perform in front of all his friends and family. Grew up in a neighborhood in San Diego, and boy, 7 innings of shutout baseball for Leake. That was outstanding.
He comes in with the 6th best ERA in the National League at 2.59. Now gets a strike in there to Craig after falling behind 3-0. And victory against the Giants, his 10th of the year, marks the 2nd time in this, the 4th year of his career, in which he has won in double figures. He won a dozen games 2 years ago. That ball drop in front of Jay Bruce, so a 2-out single for Alan Craig is his 4th hit of this series.
A big strong guy like Alan Craig, you're playing him deep, so he's likely to get more of these than other hitters are. He just sits at no man's land. Sometimes you make a good pitch, you get a bad result. That's what happens here for Leake.
Joey Votto will hold Craig over at first. That's Chris Maloney, the Cardinal first base coach, as Mike Leake works from the stretch now for the first time this afternoon. Home plate umpire is Dan Bellino. Bruce Dreckman is at first. The crew chief is Tim Welke. He's out at second. Will Little is over at third. Matt Holliday doing a little landscape cleanup work around the home plate area. Their cleanup hitter starts the game at 275. 13 homers. He's driven in 52. A hit and 3 walks in this series. He's the main Cardinal. I guess he and David Freese that have done the most damage against Mike Leake. Holiday 7 of 17 lifetime against Leake. Mentioned earlier, for Mike Leake, though, a 100th start of his Reds career.
That's a pretty amazing stat considering that Mike Leake is 25 years old.
Hammered by Holiday to left center field. That will bounce and go to the wall. Here comes the runner, Craig, being waved around third. Holiday into second, standing with an RBI double. And the Cardinals, with 2 out, nobody on, produce a hit to right by Craig, a double to the wall in left center by Holiday. They take the lead for the 3rd consecutive game in the 1st inning.
Well, with a double, an RBI double is what it did it last night when Beltran hit one into the gap and drove a run in with nobody out. And this time with 2 out, they take advantage of a little bloop base hit by Alan Craig. Matt Holliday reaches out and finds a gap in left center field. Tell you what, there it is again. Cardinals runners in scoring position, what their batting average is. I mean, they are rewriting team history in that particular department.
Yesterday they went 1 for 9, which is a real rarity for them after going 5 for 8 in the series on Friday. They started this series with that incredible number with runners in scoring position at 335.
Well, he was actually at first base. I see that now. But you know what? With Holiday up there hitting a double, that might as well be in scoring position.
Now a ball and a strike to David Freese. Well, they have, you look at the top 10 and runners in scoring position batting average, they have 5 of the top 10 in that list.
Well, it just seems like their attitude changes a little bit with runners on base.
Freese uses the other alley, right center field. Chu gets over there, knocks it down. Run will score. Freese in the second with a slide, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. Three straight hits after the first 2 are retired.
Well, the little bloop hit by Craig, but then 2 solidly hit balls by Holiday. This one by David Freese. Boy, he loves to use that right center field. And he goes the other way right there. He's going to find a spot where the ball's going to fall in. That's going to score the runner with 2 outs no matter what. But he goes to second base on somewhat of a misplay out there by Chu. So they now again have another runner in scoring position.
Here's Matt Adams getting the start at first base today with Carlos Beltran out of the lineup. Big strong guy, Matt Adams, hitting .284. 7 home runs. He's driven in 30. Makes his first start of the series. He came into the game, as did everybody, off the Cardinal bench on Friday night. Played some first base. Up there twice, struck out both times. Adams has hurt the Reds earlier this year with a pair of home runs, 5 RBIs, but this road trip has not been kind to him. Adams 1 for 15 as the Cardinals wrap up this 11-game road trip here today. Where they were swept in Atlanta. They went 1-4 in Pittsburgh. Adams puts a good stroke on this ball to right. Bruce going back, and he is not going to get it. 2-run homer, Matt Adams. 4-0 Cardinals.
Well, I was about to say, despite the fact that he has not had a good road trip, he still has 7 home runs and 30 RBI. But check that now, 8 home runs and 32, as the Cardinals have put a number on the board here with 2 out in the first inning against Mike Leake. Now they just missed the spot right there. I mean, that ball is up and out over the plate, and Adams with plenty of plate coverage.
3rd time this year he's gone deep against the Reds, and unfortunately, as you say, all this coming with 2 men out and nobody on. Here's Tony Cruz, the catcher. Leake gives up his 15th home run ball. Frazier throws out Cruz to retire the side, but damage done. Major 4 across for the Cardinals in the first. To get back in this thing as they'll come up here in the bottom of the first inning against St. Louis pitching. Here's Dusty's lineup today. Chu, Paul, and Votto at the top. Phillips, Bruce, Frazier in the middle. Cozart, Mesoraco, and Leake make up the bottom third against this 26-year-old, another former first-round pick. Leake on the Red side, Lance Lynn on the Cardinal side.
Well, you know, there's an old saying that says a double play is the pitcher's best friend, but I think Lance Lynn would beg to differ today. He'd say, how about a 4 spot in the first inning when I take the mound? That would be my best friend. And he runs a 12-5 record out there. He's a guy that can get wild from time to time. You see the number of walks he has, but he also has 130 strikeouts or thereabouts. So he's got a fastball that is very quick in the mid to upper 90s sometimes. And a young man that is off to a tremendous start in his major league career.
He gets Chu to get it going here in the bottom of the first. Chu at 283 with 15 homers. He's driven in 35. There's that those numbers that Chris is talking about, the run support over the last 2 years for Lance Lynn.
You know, we've always said that, you know, the wins are the one thing that a starting pitcher really can't control, because you never know what your offense is going to do behind you. You never really know what your defense is going to do, and so on. All you can do is keep your team in the game. That's why earned run average is a good way of taking a look at what a pitcher does.
Lynn gets the strikeout of Chu to start the bottom of the first. Take a look at the Cardinals defensively behind the 26-year-old right-hander Lance Lynn, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Holiday, Jay, and Craig. Alan Craig getting the start in right field today. Freese, Descalzo, Carpenter, and Adams on the infield. Lynn throws to Tony Cruz as the catcher for the Cardinals this afternoon. Here's Xavier Paul. Paul has really had a tough go of it at the plate as of late. Starts this game at 239 with 6 home runs, 28 runs batted in. He's had 1 appearance. That was as a pinch hitter in this series thus far. That came in the 8th inning last night. The last 2 months he has really labored trying to be effective at the plate. 214 in June, under 200 in July.
Dusty getting away from his normal philosophy of loading up left-handers in a row or same type of hitters in a row. He likes to go lefty-righty, lefty-righty, but quite frankly, you look down the rest of the lineup and who's better suited to hit second in this lineup today. You've got several guys that are struggling, so Dusty will get away from that lefty-righty and go 3 lefties in a row with Chu, Paul, and Votto.
He really has gotten away, really right before the All-Star break, I guess, gotten away from using Cozart in the 2 spot.
Well, you're forced to. I mean, he wasn't delivering in the 2 spot. Maybe he felt a little extra pressure by being at the top of the lineup, want to relieve some pressure, put him down lower.
Hit hard by Paul, but right back to the mound with a big 6'5" Lance Lynn corrals it for out number 2.
And sometimes you got to charge him, or maybe not. That ball right back, essentially in the glove where he holds it there. He finishes up with his glove about waist high, and it comes right back at the belt.
6'5", 240 with quick reaction. So 2 out for Joey Votto. Talked so much about the fact that Votto leads the league and has in the past years in on-base percentage. He comes into this game at .439, but what he has done here as of late, a little bit mind-boggling. Been on base 10 of his last 11 plate appearances, 14 of his last 19, and that is upwards of .730 on-base percentage. Comes in 4th in the league in hitting at .321. And that 3-run homer here on Friday night. We will, as always, keep our eye on those other games of interest. The Pirates are at home against Colorado. They'll start in about 10 minutes. Strike 3 to Joey Votto, and the Reds go in order in the bottom of the first. On the rivalry series so far, and Tiger leads on the final day of the Bridgestone. And log on to Reds Game Connect. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports, brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Cardinals get 4 in the first with 2 men out, nobody on. Lead 4-0 after 1. Mike Leake now back to work. He'll face the number 8 hitter, Daniel Descalzo, playing shortstop for the 2nd time in 3 days. Yesterday 1 for 3. Paul going back, and he got there. Paul was one of those slicers, looked like that was coming back to him at the bitter end.
How about Xavier Paul? Kind of reaches his glove almost behind him on this. I mean, the way he went back on that, he didn't give a lot of people confidence he was going to be able to grab it, but he stays right with it. Good hand-eye coordination there, and the Reds left fielder are able to take away an extra base hit. Nice play.
3 of the 4 outs now that Leake has recorded in this game have been via the fly ball. He gets the leadoff man and now deals with the pitcher, Lance Lynn. 4 hits to his credit this year.
Yeah, that is really an indicator because Mike Leake is a guy that normally gets about 62% ground balls over fly balls.
Another ball in the air. Bruce will make the catch. 2 out.
You know, we were talking last night about Tony Cingrani. He's a guy that pitches up in the strike zone. He's going to get a lot of fly balls because of that. Mike Leake, rather than trying to find that spot in the very top of the strike zone, he's got to find that spot at the very lower end of the strike zone and keep the majority of his pitches down there, right down there at the hollow of the knees. When he starts getting that ball even 2, 3, 4 inches up above that, that's when you start seeing balls in the air and balls leaving the ballpark.
So really what we're seeing out of Leake more so this year than ever before is the ability and the consistency to do that.
Well, you're right. I mean, when he starts painting the lower part of the strike zone, you're going to see a lot of easy innings out of Mike Leake. When he starts getting up a little bit, that's when he starts giving up doubles and homers. He's given up now 15 home runs already. Not already, but this year.
Well, after an ERA of over 4 in the month of April, he had a sub-2 in May, a sub-2 ERA in June, and a sub-3 at 2.8 in the month of July.
And really has made it look easy doing so. I mean, you could almost call Mike Leake kind of a boring pitcher. He doesn't have a lot of flash to him. He doesn't strike out a lot of hitters. He doesn't have a trick pitch. He doesn't throw sidearm like Bronson Arroyo. He just kind of goes out there and gets you to just miss the ball, ground out, take an easy 0 for 4.
Just misses ringing up Carpenter there, 2-2.
You're not kidding.
Carpenter fly to center to get this game started. And he'll tap that ball foul. Those numbers we're talking about with an under 3 ERA in 3 consecutive months with 30 innings or more pitched. In the last 20 years, Leake is one of only 3 pitchers for the Reds that have been able to accomplish that. The other 2 are also on this staff, and Bronson Arroyo and Johnny Cueto. Painting the inside corner there is Leake to retire the side. Time moment of the game brought to you by Miller Lite. And don't forget, Reds fans, if a Reds player hits a home run here in this game, hits the Toyota sign during this contest, Susan Bean from Georgetown, Ohio, proud owner of a 2007 Prius, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to be a winner at an upcoming game by visiting your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Reds come calling, bottom of the second. Down 4-0 against his right-hander Lance Lynn. Then a native of Indianapolis, Indiana, although he went to the University of Mississippi. Went to high school in Brownsburg, Indiana, Brownsburg High.
Well, that was some kind of a team they had at Brownsburg. When he was a senior, they won the state 4A championship. They went 33-0. And of course, one of his teammates was Drew Storen, Washington Nationals pitcher. He was drafted out of high school, decided not to sign, ended up going down to the University of Mississippi, where he ended up getting drafted by the Cardinals as a supplemental pick in the first round.
Off the end of the bat of Phillips, and he will be thrown out by Carpenter for out number 1. You mentioned Drew Storen's name. It just shocked me a couple of weeks ago when I read that he had been sent down to AAA. Well, he had had such a great run of it with the Nationals for a couple of years, but you know, he had that bone spur in his elbow last year, and he's never seemed to have totally gotten it back together yet.
Yeah, that's been really the story of the Nationals. You know, it seems like they've had little nicks and injuries to certain players here and there that have cost some time. Jason Worth, I understand, has been recently injured again, and it's been a tough story for them, especially for Drew Storen.
Nationals expected to be the team to beat in the National League this year, not just the NL East, but the National League. They start the action today at 2 games under 500 and an incredible 11.5 games behind Atlanta. To his left, Carpenter, but nobody to throw the ball to. Lynn didn't get over there. They apparently thought that was going to get on into right field for a hit.
Well, you know what? You know what they say, every time you think you hurt the team, just get on over there. If you see a ball on the right side of the infield, you're taught over and over and over again, just get over there. Normally it's a catcher that's yelling at you. Now here's Matt Carpenter, makes a great play. He's coming up ready to throw the ball, and he makes that great play for naught. So Jay Bruce picks up a base hit.
Yeah, he hesitated 1 count, 2 counts, then took off, but too late as Bruce gets the first Reds base hit. He becomes the first Reds base runner. He's on with 1 out here in the second.
And really 1 count of hesitation is all you need, and it's too late. So maybe the Reds can take advantage right here, get an extra out in the inning.
Wouldn't Todd Frazier love to be the guy? Break out of it right here.
Well, it's really not all that bad of a matchup, really, for Todd Frazier and Lance Lynn. I mean, Frazier's a fastball hitter. Not hitting well right now, obviously, but I mean, he's a good swing away from turning this thing around and launching one out of here.
Dusty Baker the last couple of days has done a lot of talking about what to do with slumps. Foul ball with a runner going, in terms of how you approach it on a day in, day out basis. He talked about going back, looking at video, finding out when you were going well and what you were doing right then versus what you aren't doing right now. And he also talked about the ability to put the day before behind you.
That's probably the biggest thing right there. It becomes a mental thing where the slump gets bigger than maybe your mechanical problem or anything else that's bothering you at the batter's box. You foul off a pitch like that and you go, oh, here we go again. See, that's a swing right there of just no confidence at all. I mean, actually, he's fortunate that he did not make contact with that pitch, because if he had, chances are he rolls it over into a double play ball. No bat speed. Let it rip. Right or wrong, you got to let it rip.
He's 0 for his last 25, and his average has dipped down below 240 now at 237. He did play yesterday, although he did not start in the game, and turned out the fellow that played in place of him, Jack Hanahan, had that big 2-run single in the first inning. Bruce being held over there at first by Adams, and now Lynn steps off. Lynn has not had a lot of success on the road. 8-1 with a 2.66 at home, but his split away from home, a 5.20 ERA. 6 of the 7 home runs he's given up have been on the road.
Now, last year he won 18 ball games. That was 4th best in the National League. This year, with 12 wins, he's 2nd best on the Cardinals. He trails Wainwright. He's one ahead of his teammate Shelby Miller, who pitched the other night.
Strikeout on a breaking ball of Todd Frazier is out, number 2. Lynn is tied with Lariano of the Pirates, Corbin of the Diamondbacks for 2nd in victories in the NL.
Yeah, look at the spray chart as to where they're pitching Todd Frazier, and they're simply just trying to tease him down and away. And he gets them to chase the ball in the dirt right there. That's the one thing you do in a slump, is that you start expanding the strike zone and you get so anxious up there that you swing at pitches that you have no way of hitting.
Here now is Cozart with a runner aboard and 2 out. Reds down 4-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. Talked about Lance Lynn not being overly successful on the road this year. In this ballpark, he's appearing for the 5th time total, 3rd time as a starter, and his ERA is a whopping 8+. Last time the Reds faced him was here, and they were able to get to him. That was back in early June. So hopefully that's an omen of things to come this afternoon. Those are at 240 with 8 home runs. Tell you earlier about the games we're following closely. Pittsburgh at home against Colorado. That game just now underway. Right-hander Juan Nicasio pitching for the Rockies. A.J. Burnett, very fine year he's having this year on the mound for Pittsburgh. And then the Diamondbacks at Boston underway. Brendan McCarthy for the D-backs against Philip Dubron of Boston. High and deep by Cozart. Deficit cut in half.
Zach hasn't had a lot to shout about in this series so far, but he gets a hanging slider right there. Kind of stays right middle in, about thigh high, and he hits it into the 2nd deck right above the Cozart side. So he takes that 4-run deficit and cuts it in half with that 2-run blast.
9th of the year for Zach Cozart. The Reds, who scored a boatload of their runs yesterday with 2 men out. Their first 5, in fact, came with 2 men out. Get 2 here with 2 men out.
Well, that's one of those no-doubters right there. I mean, he's talking to Dusty Baker, overheard by Chu. You see the smiles down there, and nice to get a little quick score right there. Puts a little enthusiasm and some energy into this crowd. Big crowd here on hand today. I mean, I'm not so sure that there's a seat left. There's some standing room seats, maybe. Although I see them stacked up 4 or 5 deep down each of the lines.
Mesoraco, his first multi-home run game of his career yesterday. Hit that 2-run shot in the 4th inning against Westbrook. And then a solo in the 8th inning. That came against Keith Butler. Pardon me, against Michael Blazek. So for Mesoraco, 8 homers this year, 32 batted in. He sees Lynn for the first time ever. Mesoraco has really been able to take advantage since Hannigan went on the disabled list on the 11th of July. In 15 starts, he's hit over 300, On base percentage over 325 with a dozen RBIs. And he scorches that ball, but a hit taken away by David Freese down at third. But the deficit cut in half on this blast by Zach Cozart here in the bottom of the second. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Take a look at this home road split now.
And this is what the Reds are going to do in August and September. They've got more home games, as you see, 31 home games in August and September versus 22 on the road. And then they've got 4 against the Cardinals at home, 3 on the road. Against the Pirates, they are split 3-3. So the Reds have done better at home. So that schedule, you would think by looking at it, would be advantageous to Dusty's crew.
And they come in at home at 33-18, one of the best home records in the National League and in all of baseball. In fact, in the National League, they trail but 2 teams, Pittsburgh and Atlanta, for a number of home wins. Trailed 4-0 early, trail 4-2 now as the Cardinals come calling here in the third. John Jay to lead it off. Jay batting second today with Beltran out of the lineup. We've seen him hit down in the order on Friday. Number 1 yesterday, number 2 today, as he lines this ball out into right. Bruce does a good job of cutting it off. Jay held to a leadoff single.
Well, the curveball from Mike Leake is not having a lot of snap in it. That's one that gets ripped into right field. Matt Holliday had one early on. It was a curveball. And that's a pitch that's been very important to Mike Leake, that and that slider. I mean, after giving up only 4 hits in the entire game, 7 innings worth against the Padres last time out, he's already given up 5 hits in this ball game. Here we are, nobody out in the third. So you have days like this, you've got to just stick with it.
Alan Craig, the batter, he took that ball low and outside his first time and dumped it on into right. He then scored on the Matt Holliday double. Craig comes in now with 131 hits. He and Joey Votto came in tied for second in the league in base hits behind Milwaukee's Gene Segura with 133. Leake gets ahead 2 strikes. Saw that Elk and Elk graphic where these 2 teams have 2 series remaining. One here, one in St. Louis at the end of August, 26, 27, 28. Reds will be in St. Louis for a 3-game series, and then the following Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, September 2, 3, 4. Cardinals will be back here, and the 5th. That's a 4-gamer, so the 2nd through the 5th of September will mark the last time during the regular season that the Cardinals are in. Remember, way things are set up right now, and certainly there's a lot of time for it to change. But if everything stayed the way it is, these two teams would conceivably meet in the National League wild card playoff game. Cardinals were in that game last year, defeated Atlanta. Cozart to the hole, gets it. Phillips out on Novato, out. Double play. Combination there. Craig doesn't run overly well, and Cozart did a great job of getting that ball and getting rid of it.
That's a little bit more like it, Mike Leake says. I get the ball on the ground. I depend on some of the best glovesmen around to do the job, and that is a dandy double play. I'll tell you what, Brandon Phillips stays right in there, and he knows that John Jay is coming in hard, but he also knows that Leake needs every out he can get. And he stays in there and gets a tough turn, and that's some pretty good defense.
The Cardinals are prone to hit into the double play. They lead the National League in that department. Reds did a nice job right there turning it.
They also don't have very many strikeouts on their team. I don't think they've got anybody over 80 strikeouts. If they do, it's right at 80. Whereas the Reds have 4 players with more than 90. So they got more opportunities to ground into those double plays.
Chu takes care of that ball hit by Holiday, so 3 batters and out thanks to the double play ball. Fans can enjoy a Senior Day special thanks to Tri-State Centers for Sight. All Reds fans 60 and older can purchase a non-premium ticket at half price. Make sure you purchase in advance of game day to receive this special offer to cheer on the Reds as they take on the Oakland Athletics. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. You can also visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com/tickets. That's coming up Wednesday. The Reds will enjoy an off day tomorrow, then have Oakland in Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon, and then in a real rarity, another open date on Thursday before they begin a 3-game weekend series here against the San Diego Padres. So it's an 8-game, 10-day homestand that started on Friday night with these Cardinals. Mike Leake leads it off. Leake in that Giants game 2 starts ago had a 3-hit game. He had really been absent from the hit column until that 3-hit game. Then in another hit, an infield hit in his start out in San Diego. So he comes in with 9 hits and a 188 average. into this game.
It's amazing where you raise the level of the bar of expectation on a hitter, especially a pitcher. I mean, normally a guy comes in, he's hitting 188. You're thinking that's not bad for a pitcher. But for Mike Leake, you're thinking he ought to be hitting more, at least like 250. Because he's shown us over the years he's that good of a hitter.
He's a career 255 hitter, and that's with the numbers this year. So he started the year upwards of 260, 265. He strikes out for the first out here in the bottom of the third. Let's go now to Los Angeles for a Fox Sports 1 game break. All right, those Pirates start today 22 games above the 500 mark, leaders in the National League Central. Lost the game on Friday at home against Colorado, bounced back with a win yesterday, and that Andrew McCutchen hit has put them in front here in the first inning this afternoon out at PNC Park. Two struck out to get the Reds' first inning started. Hit that home run yesterday in the 8th inning, a 2-run homer, significant in the fact that it was the first home run this year of the 15 that Chu has hit that was a non-solo home run. He put a big time charge into that ball. Hit off of Michael Blazek. Capped a 3-run 8th. Final run the Reds scored in an 8-3 win. Boy, he hadn't homered here since the end of May, so a little over 2 months. Good to see him strike last night. He had 16 home runs a year ago, so now he's just one shy of that for this year. Chu got jammed a little bit on that pitch, and he is retired on the fly ball into center by John Jay.
You know, it looks like the ball is carrying pretty well today. A little bit of a breeze blowing from out of the west down the river. That takes those balls in the gaps a little bit. There's not a lot of movement by the flags, but the ball that Cozart hit needed no help. That was out of here. The one that Matt Adams hit needed no help. This one really did not get at all, but it still went fairly deep center field.
So here now is Xavier Paul. He scalded that ball right back to the pitcher Lance Lynn in the first inning. The Reds have had 2 line drives like that. That one to Lynn by Paul, and then the one off the bat of Mesoraco to end the second. Then had a 1-2-3 first, trying to do the same here in the third. He, like Mike Leake, coming off back-to-back solid performances. With a win 2 starts ago at home against Philadelphia, and a very good outing against Pittsburgh during this road trip his last time out. Total in those games of 2 runs over 13 innings. Three and one. Otto waits on deck. Three and two. Leak strikeout, a Chu fly out, and now a 3-2 offering to Paul. Maybe trouble. Here comes Holiday. He'll get there. Paul retired. Reds go in order in the bottom of the third and trail 4-2 through 3. The 2013 season in HD quality. Watch every out-of-market game live or on more than 350 mobile and connected devices. Visit MLB.tv today. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. How about our AT&T trivia question on this Sunday afternoon? Who were the players involved in the last trade made between the Reds and the Cardinals? Players involved in the last trade between these two teams. Leak to Freeze to start the fourth inning.
I would say we have to go back more than a decade, I would think.
You're mulling it?
Maybe closer to 2. Did it involve a pitcher and maybe a first baseman?
So Chris has it.
Well, I don't know about that, but I at least have the positions to work with. And back, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was Walt Jocketty, who was the general manager of the Cardinals at that time, who pulled the trigger on that deal.
You're really narrowing in on it.
Jim Bode would have been the general manager of the Reds.
Giving us all the details except the names.
Well,
you don't want to do that.
Those are all hints.
Freeze doubled in a run his first time. And Leak gets him on an off-speed pitch here to start the fourth with a strikeout.
Good looking breaking ball right there from Mike Leak. That curveball has kind of eluded him early in the ball game. He's been hanging it up there, but he finishes that one, even though it kind of backs up on him a little bit, and he gets a strikeout.
So here's Matt Adams. His home run ball now the difference in this game. That 2-run homer in the first inning out into the sun deck and right.
He's a big burly dude here.
You're talking 6'3", 260.
The beard, you may want to nickname him Grizzly. Good. Probably been used and reused again, but I have a good line when I steal one.
You could say the same thing about Ryan Ludwig. You could say the same thing about J.J. Hoover.
Well, except Grizzly would fit with the last name Adams.
True. But they're burly looking fellas.
Grizzly Ludwig. That's got a nice ring to it, too.
You can't tell me he doesn't look grizzly. 2 out. Ludwig, by the way, not playing today for Louisville. He's scheduled to be off today. Jonathan Broxton is starting that game in Indianapolis for the Louisville team, and when he finishes, we'll pass along his line.
He's scheduled probably to go, what, 1 inning today as a starter?
Inning,
so.
Yeah. Jim Day, in fact, is following that closely, and will report on that when it is completed. Here's Tony Cruz with 2 out. So after the 4-run first, the Cardinals go down in order in the second. 3 batters and out in the third, thanks to the double play ball hit into by Craig. First 2 out here in the fourth. Now Mike Leake falls behind the light hitting catcher of the Cardinals, 3-0. And he walks him on 4. That's the first walk given up by Mike Leake. Bring Daniel Descalzo to the plate. Cardinals wrapping up, as I mentioned earlier, an 11-game road trip today. It included that doubleheader in Pittsburgh on Tuesday. They have the Dodgers coming to town for 4, and then the Cubs. So a week-long homestand, then an off day, and then Pittsburgh in for 3. So nice long homestand for them. That includes the hottest team in baseball, the Dodgers. Into left, and Paul will handle it. And a relatively easy inning for Mike Leake here in the top of the 4th. By Toyota. See your Toyota dealer or visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. Across the river, you can get just about any type of Geta you so desire, including, yes, a Geta corn dog. You'd like to be over there at the Geta Fest today, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I really would. I didn't realize there were so many different varieties of Geta.
Go over there and get your Geta all day today. What's your favorite kind of Geta?
Vegetarian. Which isn't really Geta, but I mean they make it look like Geta.
They had a Geta burrito sign there. I saw that. Geta corn dog.
What if they'll still be operating at the end of this ball game? We could take a hike over there and get some Geta.
And he's serving up some Geta here in the cafeteria. Hard to center by Votto. Jay chasing on the track, reaches up and makes the catch. Votto scalded that ball, but Jay tracked it down. Half step in front of the wall, straightaway center field.
Yeah, the ball is definitely carrying a little bit. Joey Votto gets not a whole lot of this one. He gets enough to put a scare into the center fielder out there, as John Jay is a pretty good outfielder. He goes back in an unfamiliar territory and catches it about a step away from the wall.
So still another hard hit ball by the Reds. Paul, Mesoraco, now Votto. And it turned into outs. Here's Brandon Phillips. I'd like to get this guy's bat going again. Brandon in the series is 3 for 9. Talked yesterday about the fact that his average, batting average wise, has been down since he was hit on the first day of June by that pitch in Pittsburgh. He hit 209 in June, 240 in the month of July. Starts this game at 263 overall. Rounded out to the second baseman, Carpenter, his first time. In the hole, Descalzo to get it. Strong throw across to retire Phillips. 2 out. Batter will be Jay Bruce.
Yeah, we said that Lance Lynn, an 18-game winner last year, and even after winning 18 games, the Cardinals told him at the end of the season, you know, we don't like the way you look. We want you to come back to spring training this year lighter. He lost 40 pounds between the end of last year and the beginning of spring training this year. 40 pounds. I mean, they've got him listed right now at 6 feet 5 inches tall, 250. And he's every bit of that, but I mean, he was bigger and rounder last season.
And when you saw him in early April this year, that first series in St. Louis, you're pointing to this fellow out there and saying, hey, who's the new guy they picked up?
You're right about that.
Now to Bruce.
What makes him dangerous is that he throws a couple of different kinds of fastballs. He's got that four-seamer that he can ride up in the zone, and the last two that you just saw to Jay Bruce are the two-seam variety. He runs down and away. Averages about 93 miles an hour on a fastball. Throws a slider and a curveball and a rare changeup. Not very many of those at all.
Bruce on a 2-2 is a strikeout victim, the 5th of the game for Lance Lynn.
Reds here on Fox Sports Ohio. Jim Day with you. Let's give you that update on Jonathan Broxton. He started today's game in Indianapolis for the Louisville Bats, and he had to play some damage control. Gave up a one-out single, then gave up a ground rule double. Got an out on a fielder's choice, and then struck out the final batter of the first. So in the end, it was 1 inning pitched, 2 hits, no runs. He struck out a batter. He threw 18 pitches, guys. 12 were strikes. The telltale sign will be how he feels tomorrow after back-to-back days of pitching. If all goes well, you could see, finally see Jonathan Broxton in a Reds uniform this coming week.
All right, thanks, JD. Broxton been on the DL since the 15th of June, so he's pushing, what, 6.5 weeks or so since we've last seen him in a Reds uniform. We did see him out here, 2 days ago, throwing a simulated inning. He's out throwing in the outfield, running in the outfield. It'd be good to get the big guy back and on the active roster. Lynn strikes out to start the St. Louis 5th inning, number 3 for Mike Leake. Dusty Baker alluded to the fact that Pedro Villarreal was here until Broxton came back. Villarreal came up, yesterday. Here's Matt Carpenter. Line out, struck out, 0 for 2. Carpenter was in the top 10 in the league in hitting when this series began. Started this game at 303. Votto handles it. Feeds on the Leake covering. So Carpenter 0 for 3. Boy, he and Todd Frazier going through a heck of a tough time right now at the plate.
Yeah, meanwhile, Mike Leake is beginning to get it together and become Mike Leake. He's retired 6 of the last 7. Aside from that walk that he gave Tony Cruz last inning, and seems to be now finding the bottom of the strike zone a little bit better. Or is it 7 of 8?
1 over the minimum since the second inning started.
Yeah.
Got the first 2 in the first inning. Gave it the hit to right to Alan Craig. The RBI double to left center to Holiday. The double to center by Freese. And then the 2-run homer to Matt Adams. His 8th of the year. That blast is the difference right now in this 4-2 game. John Jay singled in the right his last time. He had a 6-game hitting streak ended yesterday, did Jay, when he went 0 for 3. Now he gets ahead 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk to the Cardinals center fielder, the second by Leake. I know you're dying to know, so let's go back to that AT&T trivia question and find out the answer. The last players involved in the trade between the Reds and the Cardinals, and how close was our Chris Welsh? How about the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, for Dimitri Young, November of '97. Cowboy hard at it right there in the radio booth. That's who you had in mind.
That was it.
Outside ball 1 to Alan Craig, and now Mesoraco hand delivers the ball back to Leake.
That was just a couple of years really after Cowboy won the Rolaids Relief Pitcher of the Year award. That was in 1996. He saved 44 games and 49 chances. One of his 4 seasons with the Reds.
You should note that the Cowboy, along with John Franco and Danny Graves and Reggie Sanders and
Ken Griffey Jr.
Are the 5 modern day Reds players being looked at for the Reds Hall of Fame ballot. They're on the ballot for 2014 induction. One of that group of 5 will be inducted next summer. Sleepwalk Jay on 4. Now he falls behind Craig 3-0. Craig, 29 years old. Big year last year, 92 runs batted in. He'll surpass that total this year. He's at 84 now. Figures to have his first ever 100 RBI season. Goes out to Phillips. That puts an end to the Cardinal half of number 5. St. Louis has left 2 men on in this game. Our Sports Network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. America's new sports network, Fox Sports 1, coming August 17th. Lance Lynn back to work. He'll get Frazier, Cozart, Mesoraco here in the bottom of the 5th. Red scored on the 2-run homer by Cozart, who's on deck in the 2nd, cutting their 4-run deficit in half to 4-2. Boy, they'd like to get this guy going here. Sitting on 10 home runs seemingly forever. Todd Frazier puts a charge into this ball into right center. Craig on the track will haul it in for the out. Frazier last homer against Mike Kickham of the Giants here on the 1st of July. Prior to that, it had been 2 weeks before that on the 17th of June when he homered here against Francisco Liriano. So he's a long drought.
He gets a fastball that time and pretty much center the plate a little bit above the knees. And that's usually a pitch that Todd Frazier, when he's going right, is going to center up. He's just a hair late on that.
So here's Cozart. Cozart's homer, the 2nd of his career against Lance Lynn. Now at 38 runs batted in, surpassing his total of a year ago. Cozart had 15 homers, but only 35 RBIs last year.
It's always interesting to see how a pitcher pitches a batter at bat after he hits a home run. And Cozart looked like he got a slider last time, kind of hung on the inner part of the plate. This time he's had 2 fastballs away. Lance Lynn got his break last year into the Cardinal rotation due to the injury to Chris Carpenter. And he immediately picked up where Carpenter left off, going 6-0 in his first set of ball games, and with a very low earned run average. Now, the update on Carpenter was that he was coming back from an injury that he thought he would never pitch from again. And unfortunately for Chris Carpenter and the Cardinals right now, he's taking a step back. As of, I guess, about July the 23rd, he was down in AAA pitching, did not pitch very well, began to feel the same numbness in his hand that he's felt before. So they're not sure if there's a timetable for his return.
Right at Descalzo, 2 out. The Cardinals have been hit like most teams in terms of injuries and things that they've had to overcome. Rafael Furcal, their shortstop, underwent Tommy John surgery, and so he was out for the year. That's how they turned to Pete Kozma. Jaime Garcia, he's had shoulder surgery, out since the middle of May. They lost their closer in Jason Mott. They've talked about Carpenter. So they, like the Reds, like the Pirates, like most teams, have had to endure the injuries and make the appropriate changes. To hear Jim Day talk about the outing of Jonathan Broxton. He got through that. Now the big test will be tomorrow and how he feels. Maybe we'll see the big man back in uniform, who knows, as early as the Oakland series.
Well, it's not like there's a real deficiency in the bullpen going on.
Right.
So there shouldn't be all that much urgency on the part of the Reds. They just want to make sure that Broxton is ready, that his arm feels right, that his velocity is back to where it ought to be. And maybe the command would be something that you'd want him to maybe have a couple of more outings down the AAA for.
Strike 3 called to Mesoraco. Painting the outside corner is Lance Lynn. Honda dealers, take a look at our Honda game summary. Cardinals strike for 4 in the first inning. RBI double by Matt Holliday. Freeze doubled in a run, and then Matt Adams. Watch the big man, Grizzly Adams, if you will, launch one into the sun deck out and right, and a 4-0 Cardinal lead. Reds bounce back though. In the bottom of the second, Zach Kozar, his 9th of the year. And it made it a 4-2 game, and that's where we stand now into the 6th. That's our Honda game summary here on this Sunday afternoon. Mike Leake certainly has settled in. Has faced 1 over the minimum since the first inning. Lance Lynn, he has set down 10 in a row since the Cozart home run in the bottom of the second. And Holliday will lead it off. 1 for 2 in this game. He's had a pretty good road trip. Holiday started at 343 on the trip entering today's game. Playing deep and straight away. And he'll hit it right back up the middle for a base hit, his second of this game. And he is on to start the Cardinals 6 with their 6th hit. Batter will be David Freese. Reminder to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game. That's with Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. Fox Sports Ohio, your exclusive home of Reds baseball. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. No game tomorrow for the Reds, then back in action on Tuesday against the Oakland Athletics. Remember, it was Oakland that took it to the Reds a couple of times out there. That was part of that Arizona, Oakland, Texas road trip. Reds are out there in Oakland on the 25th and 26th of June. Lost 7-3. Tommy Malone started that game. He recently was sent down to the minor leagues by Oakland. And then on Wednesday afternoon, the 26th, what a heck of a job turned in by A.J. Griffin going the distance, allowing the Reds just 2 hits in that one and a 5-0 Oakland win. Josh Donaldson, remember, had a couple of big games for Oakland. Homered in each game. Now the A's will be here for 2 games beginning Tuesday. We don't see either of those same starters. Dan Straley at 6-5 will go against Matt Latos Tuesday night. Straley has not pitched well as of late. Then the afternoon game on Wednesday will feature Homer Bailey against Bartolo Colon. 14-game winner at the age of 40. Sharply hit up the middle by Freese. So back-to-back hits. Great leak in the Reds here in the Cardinals 6th inning.
Yeah, this is the kind of inning that can get away from the Reds very quickly. And that second hit sends Brian Price to the phone pronto to ring up Porky Lopez down the Reds bullpen and get somebody up and throwing. Freese, boy, of all the guys in this Cardinal lineup, he keeps his hands inside the ball about as well as anybody. He rarely pulls the ball. Sometimes gets out in front of a breaking ball. For the most part, though, he likes that right center field and up the middle strategy. And now Price will join Mesoraco on the mound and talk about Matt Adams. Also talk about what Mike Leake needs to do right here to keep this ball in the ballpark.
Logan Andrusik now up in the Reds bullpen. Here comes Dan Bellino to break things up.
Now when Mesoraco goes back behind the home plate, he and Matt Adams have something to talk about. They're both from central Pennsylvania.
All right.
Adams from Phillipsburg, I believe. He went to Slippery Rock College, where he set an all-time batting average record there at .473 before the Cardinals picked him in the 23rd round. Made the ball club as an extra player this year, and he's been awfully good for him.
Holiday was on the DL. The Cardinals moved Craig out to left, and it was Adams who started for almost 2 straight weeks over there at first base.
Well, he's hit at every minor league stop. He sure has got the body of a slugger.
Another screamer into right field by Adams, his second hit of the afternoon. Bruce bobbles the ball, and now the runner coming home, and it's 5-2 St. Louis. That would have loaded the bases.
I think Jose Oquendo was originally going to stop the lead runner, Matt Holliday. With nobody out, they weren't going to take a chance of having a runner thrown out at the plate, but when that ball was bobbled out there in right field a little bit, that gave Oquendo the chance to send Holliday. Adams with a ripped line drive in the right field. Boy, Mike Leake just getting the ball up to him. A little stop and go action at third base.
The Cardinals use back-to-back hits to increase their advantage again to 3 at 5-2.
And they're wasting about as much time as they can, and here comes Dusty up the dugout steps.
That will indeed be a hit. An error by Bruce. No RBI for Adams. A 5-2 Cardinal lead. And as mentioned by Chris, here's Dusty. Well, all three of those balls pretty well hit, and Dusty has seen enough out of Mike Leake. 5 innings plus here this afternoon. The Reds do not get a starter that goes through 6 in this series. Reds make a pitching change. Leake is out of the game. Logan Andrusik, who had to warm up in a hurry, is ready. He will enter, and it is indeed time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Run and another hit with runners in scoring position. 3 for 3 today. 6 for 17 in the last 2 days. They also had a very good job of it on Friday. So look at that team average, still way up there at 335. Mike Leake today, 5 innings plus, 8 hits allowed, 5 runs so far. 2 of the runners on, still his. Walked 2, struck out 3. He will not be able to pick up victory number 11 today. He's relieved out there by the right-hander Logan Andrusik.
Yeah, Andrusik comes in 33 games for him. You hope that he can dial up that ground ball double play ball and help the Reds get out of this inning.
Just to reiterate, Bruce was charged with an error on that bobble out in right field. You saw the replay that showed Holiday slowing down as he came to third. A little stop and start. When the ball was bobbled by Bruce, he came home. Freeze went over to third. First and third. Nobody out. A run in. And a 5-2 Cardinal lead. Andrusik on for the second time in this series.
Yeah, the Reds will play the infield back. They're going to try to get a double play. They will concede the 6th run of the game if Cruz puts it on the ground.
Cruz is 0 for 1 with a walk.
That's a pretty good number right there. He stranded 11 of the 13 he's inherited. Well, the Reds bullpen has been very good in that department.
Another solid base hit in the center. This one by Cruz. And the original 4-run Cardinal lead back intact for St. Louis. They now are up 6-2.
Yeah, every one of the balls hit by the Cardinals in this inning well struck. Going right back through the boxes. Cruz, you see where Mesoraco is. He wanted that ball inside. It looked like it caught the more of the middle of the plate. And that ball right by Logan Andrusik before he can react.
Run charge to Leake. Here's Daniel Descalzo. Twice his fly to left. 4 in the first for the Cardinals, and then Mike Leake really put the clamps on 2nd through the 5th.
Yeah, very much like Tony Cingrani last night, although Cingrani did give up a couple of runs in the second, didn't get touched up as nearly as badly in the first as Leake did. But second game in a row, the Dusty Bakers had to go to the bullpen in the 6th inning.
Yeah, as we mentioned, Bronson Arroyo only 3 2/3 on Friday, so in all 3 games of this series, the pen has had to go to work early.
Yeah, this is something that they're really not used to, because it's one thing that has been pretty much the lifeblood of the Reds all year long has been that starting pitching and how they can give them at least 6 good solid innings.
That's a fair ball by Votto at first base and headed toward the corner. Adams will score. Cruz will go on to third. Descalzo has himself a double. 5 straight hits here in the top of the 6th. 3 runs thus far and a 7-2 St. Louis lead.
More hitting with runners on base. That was not all that bad of a pitch by Logan Ondrusek. Looked like a curveball down and away. Descalzo just gets ahead of it and rips it right by Joey Votto. Well, it really all does boil down to hitting with runners in scoring position. I mean, you can almost throw out any other stat.
That makes them 5 for 5 in that category today. Now the infield in. Second and third, still nobody out. There's not been a National League team. There's not been a National League team that has hit over 300 with runners in scoring position since 2000, when Colorado did it. They had 309 that year.
And the Cardinals are now up over 330.
335 when Mike Leake left the game, and they've had 2 hits since then.
I mean, that's just astounding, off the charts. Remember when you played the Cardinals earlier in the year, you said there was no way when the Reds play the Cardinals again in August that number will be anywhere that high.
Right.
It's got to come back down to earth, but it has not really for Mike Matheny's crew. He's got a year going where they've been able to pick up some really clutch hits. Dusty Baker's trying to figure out how his team's going to score 5 runs off Lance Lynn. That is if Ondrusek can hold him from here. Still nobody out. Runners to second and third.
The mind-boggling number of it all, and it's in the Cardinals press notes today.
Well, a rare defensive hiccup for Todd Frazier. You got the pitcher up. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to guaranteed get an out right here, and Frazier picks it up and just can't get the handle of it.
Second error of the inning by Cincinnati. The error by Bruce was made a moot point due to the hitting by St. Louis. Now this one loads the bases. The definitive number for this Cardinal team, and in their press notes today, with their 335 average with runners in scoring position at the start of the day, they could go hitless in their next 100 at bats with runners in scoring position and still lead the major leagues in that department. They could go hitless in their next 200 at bats with runners in scoring position and still lead the National League in that department.
I'd just like to see them go hitless in their next 3 at bats.
It's amazing what they've been able to do in that department. Mind-boggling, really. Closest team to them in the National League at the start of this series was Colorado at 263. Closest to them overall in the big leagues is Detroit at 294. Hammered to right field by Carpenter, off the top of the fence. So he does break the 0 for 23. 2 more runs will score. Cruz and Descalzo touch the plate. Been a 5-run inning, and it's 9-2.
Wow.
Here comes Dusty Baker.
Yeah, the pitch down in the zone, and Carpenter gets it, and he hits it just as hard as just about everybody else in this inning, except the pitcher Lance Lynn. That ball nearly goes out of here for a grand slam.
Lynn ends up at third. Dusty Baker has seen enough of Logan Ondrusek. He makes the call to the bullpen, and Alfredo Simon will enter the game. Simon has worked in each of the first 2 games of this series, and he'll appear here in the top of the 6th. Medicine, one of this year's Fox Sports supports charities. Johns Hopkins is at the forefront of groundbreaking research into autoimmune disorders like multiple sclerosis and lupus. Join us in the fight against autoimmune diseases. Donate now by visiting hopkinsmedicine.org/Fox. New pitcher on, third of this inning for the Reds. This is Alfredo Simon. Simon worked an inning on Friday, worked 1/3 of an inning yesterday. Comes in here in the 6th inning. Smash to Phillips, knocks him down, gets back up, throws on to first in time to retire John Jay. The runners stay put at 2nd and 3rd. Where they are teeing off on some balls.
This ball just a scorcher, one hopper right there. Brandon Phillips, I mean, half defense, half protection right there.
Alan Craig hit into a double play in the 3rd. He's up there now with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out.
He fielded that ball like his feet were cemented to the ground.
The Cardinals have had some big innings in this series. 4 in the 1st, 4 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th on Friday, 4 in the 1st, and a 5 spot here in the 6th inning this afternoon. And a 9-2 lead. Logan Ondrusek did not retire a batter of the 4 he faced, although there was an error by Frazier behind him. 3 hits. A couple of runs thus far. Craig, the 9th man to bat in the inning. Phillips going out, and Brandon will make the catch. Lynn, the runner at 3rd, going nowhere. So Simon has come on. Retired the first 2 batters he faces. 10th man to bat in the inning. They hit around Matt Holliday. Holliday started the inning with a single up the middle. Here he bats again some 5 runs later. Well, maybe out on the bases, standing around, Lance Lynn will get a little worn out. He has set down 10 in a row since the home run ball by Cozart back in the second.
Well, if standing around is going to wear him out, he needs to change his exercise regimen.
Standing around on the bases, out in the sun.
I'm worn out just watching him.
I'm doing a little hoping, I guess.
I'm with you.
2-1. Kind of like you when you're out there on that golf course, you get worn out.
I do a little hoping out there too. You're right. And you got a lot of baseball left. The Reds have 4 innings. You have to do some offensive work. Every run you keep from scoring is important. You just really never know how the ball game's going to end up. Good job by Simon.
Throws out Holiday, and indeed Alfredo Simon comes on, retires all 3 he faces. Next weekend, Friday, August the 9th, the Reds take on the San Diego Padres. Make sure you then stick around after the game for a spectacular post-game fireworks show featuring a soundtrack picked by Reds third baseman Todd Frazier and presented by our good friends at Bob Evans. For tickets to see the Reds and the Padres, you can call 513-381-RED. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can log on to reds.com/tickets. Big crowd here today, disappointed at what they're seeing for the most part. A lot of Reds fans. I imagine there are some Cardinal fans sprinkled in. 9-2, St. Louis in front. They've hit the Reds 11-2. Cesar Izturis will bat for Alfredo Simon, so the Reds will have a new pitcher come the top of the 7th inning. Nice job by Alfredo Simon, 1 inning. All zeros across. He came in and put out the fire, so to speak. As Chris said, you never know what runs may be the difference. Logan Andrusik did not retire a batter, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits. Mike Leake gave up 7, all earned, 8 hits in 5+ innings. So his Izturis bats here to start the bottom of the 6th inning against Lance Lynn. Quickly down 2 strikes. He's hitting 189 overall with 8 RBIs, 5 out of 16 as a pinch hitter. And he is disposed of as the former Cardinal on 3 pitches by Lynn. Out number 1.
I'll tell you what, Lance Lynn has shown himself that pretty good stuff today. All right, here's today's IGS Bringing the Energy feature.
Most runs scored as the #1 hitter in the lineup in 2013. Shin-Soo Choo and Starling Marte of the Pirates at the top at 71. No surprise that the National League Central also represented by Matt Carpenter with 63. So all three right out of this division.
Isn't that really the number that counts more than anything? Now, you don't have a lot of control over whether you score or not as a leadoff hitter. That's why on base percentage is so important when you evaluate that leadoff hitter. But bottom line is scoring the runs.
What it's all about. It's the only one they really keep track of. That's the first one on the scoreboard there. The top 3 run scorers in the National League are in this game. Matt Carpenter has scored 79 times. Joey Votto 76. Shin-Soo Choo 73. Down further on the list, Matt Holliday at 71. So the top 3 and 4 of the top 7 are in this game. Choo is 0 for 2. In the series, 2 hits, 9 at bats, including that home run last night. Waves at that one and is a strikeout victim for the second time today. Back-to-back strikeouts by Lynn, and now 8 of them in this game.
Yeah, he's just overpowering the Reds right now. He threw fastballs by Asturis. He runs that little two-seamer. It looks like a two-seamer anyway. It's got the run of one on the outer part of the plate. That's the same pitch that he took care of Choo with in the first inning.
So 8 strikeouts today. His season high is 10. That was against the Reds back on the 9th of April. In that Cardinal victory, 5-1 over Dusty's Reds over at Busch Stadium. And walked anybody today. And that's an oddity for Lynn because he has walked 50 in 135 innings coming into today's game. A little hiccup he had in the second. 1-out infield hit by Bruce when he failed to cover first base. And a 2-out homer to left by Kozak. Other than that, he's had 4 1-2-3 innings and working on a 5th one here.
Yeah, you could argue that mental breakdown that he had by not covering first base cost him both runs, because Bruce would have been, if he had gotten over there, the 2nd out of the inning. He then struck out Todd Frazier, would have been the 3rd out. Kozar would never have come to the plate, at least not in that inning. But he's had, again, plenty of runs in his support. It seems like that's the case when Lance Lynn takes them out. Over the last few years, it seems like every time he takes them out, the Cardinals are scoring a bundle of runs. He showed you a graphic early on about how many runs they've scored for him last year and this year. Each year over 6 runs per game. In fact, if you start in 2012 and you take it right to now, they've had more run support runs for Lance Lynn than any other pitcher in the National League. So not only is he good, he's pitching on the right day.
When you're playing for the team, you pitch for the team that leads the league in runs scored and average, you're probably going to get some of that, right? Full count to Paul. Pirates have added a run. That game now in Pittsburgh is in the 4th. Pittsburgh 2, Colorado nothing. Strike 3 call. Paul thought he had walked. Lynn strikes out the side and now has 9 of them this afternoon.
Brought to you by Head & Shoulders, now with a hint of Old Spice. Lance Lynn has had the strikeout pitch working. There's no doubt about that. 9 of them overall. He just got finished striking out the side the 6th inning. And the whiff belongs to Lance Lynn this afternoon. Brought to you by Head & Shoulders, now with a hint of Old Spice.
There's your sad but true line score and totals in this game. 9-11-0 St. Louis, 2-2-2 for the Cincinnati Reds. 4 in the first, 5 in the 6th inning. Those big run innings for St. Louis. 33 times they've done it this year. At least 4 runs or more. That's the most in the National League, and they've done it, what, 4 times in this series against the Reds. Meanwhile, a new pitcher is on for Cincinnati. Just called up yesterday, Pedro Villarreal.
Well, he's been up before. He did not have much of a run of it in the 3 2/3 innings that he's pitched. His earned run average is way up there. But I would imagine, taking a look at the scoreboard right now, the fact that we're in the 7th inning, they're looking for Pedro to finish this ball game out. Save the Reds bullpen a little bit, maybe throw some zeros up there, get his confidence back, and just see what happens.
Villarreal, 25 years old, from Edinburgh, Texas. Played collegiately at Howard College in Big Spring, Texas. 7th round pick by the Reds back in 2008. He has been working out of the bullpen as of late down at AAA for Jim Riggleman's team. Started the year as a starter. In fact, made his lone appearance for the Reds this year in a starting role when he filled in for Johnny Cueto. That was on the 5th of June against Colorado. It hit around pretty well by that Rockies team. 6 runs, 10 hits in 3 2/3 innings. His last 9 appearances at Louisville have been out of the bullpen. David Freese, the first man he faces. Villarreal last worked 3 days ago through a shutout inning. Freese, Adams, and Tony Cruz here in the top of the 7th. Carrying pretty well off the bat of Freese. And a home run. 6th of the year for Freese, his first of this series. Boy, he's had a nice 3 days against the Reds. Now it's a homer and 6 RBIs in this 3-game series.
Now, all of his hits today, as they usually are, either up the middle or to right center field. He just has that right field or right center field slot going. This one with a lot of power.
Now it's Matt Adams. Hit the ball hard a couple of times, including his last time, that solid single into right. It was on his ball that Bruce temporarily bobbled the ball that allowed Holiday to score. Adams 2 out of 3 this afternoon. He gets it in the air. Should be playable. Chu calls off Cozart and makes the play. Let's go now to Los Angeles for another Fox Sports 1 game break. All right, boy, that Dodger team, unbelievable the way they've been playing. Reds saw that close up out there in those 4 days.
And they continue their winning ways in Chicago. That's a ball club that series. That's a ball club that's gone really from the laughing stock of the National League, given the fact that the size of their payroll, how underperforming they were, going back to about the midway to late June, to now maybe the favorite in all the National League to represent the National League in the postseason.
I think it went to today 11 games above the 500 mark, with their lead continuing to grow seemingly every day over the rest of that division. Currently the second place team is the Arizona Diamondbacks. But when you look back at the Dodger season, this is a team that was picked to do so well, as you said, Chris, and yet they were at one point a dozen games under 500.
And 9.5 games back. That is of June the 21st.
Yeah.
They went on a 6-game winning streak. They're scoring runs now. They've got tremendous starting pitching. They've got a great 1-2 punch with Zach Greinke and, of course, Clayton Kershaw. Kenley Jansen in a closing role has been pretty good.
How'd you like the left-hander out of Korea, Hyun-Jin Ryu?
Ryu was good. Had a great changeup, and he used it very effectively against the Reds.
Cruz retired for out number 2. Reminder that after the game, Fox Sports Ohio breaks it down for you. The first to get to the manager, Dusty Baker. You'll hear him right here. Reds Live post game brought to you by King's Honda and the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com. So after the home run ball, 2 fly ball outs. This is Daniel Descalso. RBI double his last time for Descalso, one of the 12 hits the Cardinals have in this game. After giving up the home run ball, Villarreal trying to retire the next 3 in order. Pitcher spot is next, and yes, Lance Lynn is in the on deck circle. In the air, drifting in the foul ground. Frazier with the glasses down makes the catch. And the inning comes to an end. The Cardinals add another run. Stretch time here in Cincinnati, and as always on Sunday afternoons, we'll stay right here for God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please stand, kindly remove your hats, and face the American flag. Major League Baseball, the Cardinals and the Reds salute the men and women of our armed forces, as well as those who serve to protect in our local police and fire departments. At this time, Please help us honor these brave men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome the Cincinnati Pops Brass Quintet as they perform God Bless America.
Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Cincinnati Children's Hospital, the #1 ranked pediatric cancer center in the country, according to U.S. News and World Report's 2013 Best Children's Hospitals. And by Chevy. Stop into your Tri-State Chevy dealer today and check out their full line of fuel-efficient vehicles. Lance Lynn back to the mound. Bottom of the 7th inning. He has set down 13 Reds in a row since Cozart's home run in the bottom of the 2nd. Gets Votto to lead it off. So he has struck out, lined out. Remember, he had that stretch of 38 consecutive games in which he reached base, ended on the recent road trip. He's come back since then. Reached base in 6 in a row. And he'll make it 7 here as he singles the other way to the right of the shortstop, Descalzo. So there goes the streak of 13 in a row.
Well, it didn't take too long. Only 3 pitches for Joey Votto to get this base hit. Let's take a look at it. Presented by Mazda, our pitch by pitch. A sinker down and away, a fastball in, going up and in again, but inside outing that ball is Joey Votto. So 3 crisp fastballs from Lance Lynn results in a leadoff base hit here in the 7th inning. Our Mazda pitch by pitch.
Here's Brandon Phillips. He's twice grounded out. Once to second, once to short. Brandon in this series is 3 out of 11. Again, the Reds will enjoy an open date tomorrow and on Thursday. Surrounding the 2-game series against the American League's West Division leader, the Oakland Athletics. Oakland 18 games over themselves at 64 and 46 as they go into action today. Oakland is at home against the Texas Rangers, so that's a battle of the top 2 teams there. They've split that 2 games so far. Oakland leads by 3.5 at the start of the day. That game is a 4:05 Eastern time start, still 50 minutes from now.
Little high and tight one right here for Brandon Phillips. They want it up. It looks like the ball just got away from Lance Lynn. No maul intent. Although Lynn does have 8 hit batters on the season. You're going to miss with an 0-2 pitch. Not really a bad spot to miss, from at least from a pitcher's perspective.
Lynn closing in on 90 pitches, is at 88 right now. He works here in the 7th inning with the leadoff man Votto aboard. Never had a complete game in his big league career. His longest outing of this year. If he can get through this inning, he would tie that. Any number of times he has gone 7. The last time 2 starts ago on the 25th of July against Philadelphia. Phillips strikes out on a breaking ball that bounces away from Tony Cruz, but with first base occupied and less than 2 out, he is retired. Remember to cheer on the Reds Tuesday and Wednesday. We've talked about it here at Great American Ballpark. When Oakland comes calling, arrive early on Tuesday, be one of the first 30,000 to take home a Joey Votto bobblehead presented by Formica. For tickets to see the Reds and the A's, you can call 513-381-RED. You can visit select Kroger locations, or you can log on to Reds.com/tickets. Here's Bruce. 10 strikeouts now for Lance Lynn. To third. There's 1. There's 2. That's a 5-6-3 double play with a little bit of a shift on, and that ends the bottom of the 7th. yesterday. They'll be taking on the San Diego Padres at Saturday, August the 10th. You arrive early for that game, be one of the first 20,000. You receive a Reds cap thanks to Fox Sports Ohio. For tickets to see the Reds and the Padres, 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. We're talking about that green cap over the weekend. It's Irish Heritage Night next Saturday the 10th. That hat made with recycled materials. Come on out and enjoy that.
What if they're going to be serving green beer at the ballpark that night?
Wouldn't that be special?
Well, that's maybe only St. Patrick's Day where they go to that extreme.
Irish Heritage Night. I remember we were at Philadelphia earlier this year for Irish Heritage Night there.
Yeah.
They had
pretty big there.
It was huge, and they had a terrific band sing our national anthem. You may remember that, or maybe not.
I watched that game on TV.
Really? Okay. Oh, that's right. You weren't there. That was the cowboy, I guess, was there.
That was him singing right along.
Yeah, and me. I wasn't even in the shower.
Did the cowboy do a little Irish jig after that band played?
He didn't, but he could. He's very capable. He had a chicken leg in one hand and a turkey leg in the other. Big old platter of butter beans in front of him. Lance Lynn stays in there, bats for himself here in inning number 8. He has equaled his longest outing of the year at 7 innings here this afternoon. Phillips will throw him out for the first out in the top of the 8th. So he's 0 for 4 as a hitter, but he certainly has his mind on going back out there in inning number 8.
I'm a little interested and curious about Lynn still being in the ball game, to be honest with you. I know that neither of the bullpens are really all that strained right now, but Lance Lynn is a guy that in his career, I think he threw 170 some odd innings last year. He's at 135 this year. Still a young pitcher. You're wondering if maybe if you give him a few innings off here, he stays strong deeper into the season, maybe even in the postseason. But on the other hand, sometimes those pitchers to the manager will give you such a strong argument and say, hey, I'm fine. Have I lost anything in your eyes? The manager's got to reply, no. I mean, you're throwing a 3-hit baseball game through 7. So he stays in there.
With only 92 pitches.
Yeah.
His longest outing last year, he went 8 against the Cubs at Wrigley Field on April the 25th. And he threw 110 pitches in 8 innings in that game in a win.
You got to remember that when you go back 15, 20, even more years than that ago, and talk about pitching staffs where the starters go more innings, and guys at one time, back in the 60s and even beyond earlier, were throwing 300 innings a year instead of 200 innings a year. A lot of times teams that only carry 9 pitchers on their staff, maybe even 8 pitchers on their pitching staff if they had a 4-man rotation. Now every team has at least 12. So you've got guys down there that are being carried for just the reason of coming in and filling in some innings. Villarreal, perfect example.
Speaking of, Villarreal walks Carpenter with 1 out here in the 8th. Big crowd again here this afternoon. 39,618. Means the Reds and the Cardinals in this 3-game series average over 40,000 for the 3-game get together. They draw 120,311, an average of 40,103. Nicely done by Reds fans.
There was no doubt about it. I mean, they had a lot to crow about last night, not a whole lot to cheer about here this afternoon, but what a great weekend for baseball. The weather's cooperated perfectly. Nice to see all these seats filled. Be a lot of more Reds baseball this coming week.
Yeah, we mentioned the off day Monday and Thursday. Oakland in for 2, and then the Padres for 3. Reds owe both those teams, don't they?
They certainly do.
Oakland took 2 from the Reds out in Oakland in that 2-game series, and the Padres took 2 out of 3 from the Reds at the tail end of the recent road trip. A little payback due those 2 teams. Tuesday's game against Oakland, televised here in Fox Sports Ohio. No television Wednesday afternoon for the 12:35 game. And all 3 games against the Padres here on the home of the Reds. Got jammed on that pitch a little bit, but muscles it out into right field, does John Jay. So 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, that breaking ball up a little bit, even though he got it on the handle. When you get that ball up, you don't have to do much of the elevation because the pitch is already up there. He just gets it in the right field, and Cardinals on the verge again. They've got 13 hits. They scored 13 runs the first night against the Reds. That was a day after they scored 13 runs against the Pittsburgh Pirates. So in 3 of the last 4 ball games for the Cardinals, a team that was having a heck of a hard time scoring runs there for a while, about a week ago, they've scored double-digit runs in 3 of the last 4.
Now, you knew it was going to come back for them. It's just a shame it had to come back this weekend.
Now, what the Cardinals have really done well this year is come back after a loss. Of course, they lost last night. They are 31-14 after they lose. So, you know, you cut the losing streaks immediately that way.
Base hit by Craig. Runner being sent home. And it is 11-2. Carpenter scores. That's the league leader in runs scored. Matt Carpenter touching the plate for the 80th time this year. Craig continues his assault on Paul Goldschmidt with a league lead in runs batted in. Goldschmidt started the day at 89. Craig adds 1 more here. He's at 85, or 2 ahead of Brandon Phillips for second. Hadron Chambers, who took over in left field in the bottom of the 7th for Matt Holliday, bats for the first time.
Well, still a lot of games left between these 2 ball clubs. The Reds will play 7 more against the Cardinals. They'll play 3 in St. Louis towards the end of this month, the 26th, 7th, and 8th. And then the Reds will host the Cardinals again beginning of September for a 4-game series, Monday through Thursday, 2nd through the 5th.
So you have those 7, and then you have the 6 against the Pirates still remaining. So 13 against the 2 teams directly ahead of them.
So you really have a lot to say. I mean, this is a long way from being over, that's for certain. I think the Reds wanted to make a little better statement in this series than they have, but it's certainly not time to panic. It is time to get your act together. Cardinals at the end of a 3-city road trip, and they looked at this particular road trip at the beginning of the year and realized it would be a tough one. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and then Cincinnati. And as you said earlier, swept in Atlanta, losing 4 out of 5 in Pittsburgh. They played 5 games there because one of those games was a makeup game for a previous rainout. But they're on the verge here of finishing their trip to Cincinnati by taking 2 out of 3.
Funny, it would give them a 3-8 record on the 11-game road trip, but they'd go home feeling pretty good about the way things turned out at the end. Chambers appeared in the game on Friday, had a double in the 7th inning, went 1 for 2.
Well, he showed he could really run.
Yeah.
He hit that ball just to the left of the center fielder Derek Robinson and just put the Jets on. Good pitch right there by Villarreal.
Now Brock Peterson will bat for David Freese.
Looks like a little slider down and in. They're just going to try to crowd him with it, and that's exactly what it was at 89 miles an hour. And could have been a cutter. You know, a cutter and a slider react the same way, depending on who throws it. Sometimes the pitcher will throw a cut fastball and it has a big break to it. Other times it'll have a very small little break to it. You just kind of hold that baseball off to the side and throw it more like a football.
Here's the 29-year-old rookie, Brock Peterson. Pitch hits for David Freese, who went 3 for 4 with a couple of RBIs, including a home run his last time. Peterson appeared in the game yesterday as a pinch hitter and struck out. Had 2 plate appearances on Friday. Walked in one, singled in the other. Talked about yesterday, he made his big league debut on the 20th of July in St. Louis against San Diego. Guy who toiled for a long time in the minor leagues, so finally getting a shot with the Cardinals this year. He spent the last 5 years in AAA. Always put up double-digit home run numbers. 23 this year down at Memphis. Pirates have now taken a 5-0 lead over Colorado. Boy, on the negative side, Pirates hang on and win. Reds fail here. It would be a season worst 6.5 games out. So yeah, what you said is true. It's time to get it going in the other direction right now. He went around, says home plate umpire Dan Bellino. That ends the top of the 8th. Talented young players go head up to see which will become the newest World Poker Tour champion. Tune into a brand new episode of the WPT, sponsored by ClubWPT.com, tonight at 11. See who claims the title at this exciting event. 11-2, St. Louis in front. 14-3, they've out hit the Reds in this game. Lance Lynn back out there looking for his longest outing of this year. Can get through the inning as long as since early last season. First pitch swinging is Frazier, and he flies out to center. So Todd 0 for 3 today, and now 0 for his last 28. Here's Zach Cozart. Zach brings us our Miller time moment of the game. I mentioned he has 2 career home runs against Lynn. One was July of 2011, his rookie year, and then today a 2-run shot in the bottom of the second with Bruce aboard. At the time, it was a second-level shot, made it a 4-2 game in favor of the Cardinals. Reds cut the deficit in half, but unfortunately, they've been unable to score anymore since that time.
Well, a little bit of personal grudge right there between Cozart and Lance Lynn. After all, these are both Ole Miss Rebels going after each other.
Joel Luckham tells us this is only the 4th time in the career of Lance Lynn, and this is his 54th start that he's worked into the 8th inning. That's going to be a base hit. A swinging bunt by Zach Cozart, and result his second hit of the game. Let's go now to Los Angeles for another Fox Sports 1 game break. And that Pirate team just rolling along. Took 4 out of 5 from this Cardinal team. The way it looks, and they're not there yet mathematically, but it sure looks like they're going to break that long spell of sub-500 seasons.
Yeah, they're beginning to score some runs, which was their problem earlier in the year. They continue to get good pitching. A.J. Burnett today shutting out the Rockies through the first 6.
Past the mound to second. They get it out.
Boy, you know you're going bad when that kind of thing happens. Devin Mesoraco hit a bullet his first time up right by the third baseman. It was snagged by the third baseman Freeze. This time he goes right up the middle. And the second baseman comes over and he's going to try to barehand this ball. And Carpenter finally gets a handle on it. I mean, just a second before the runner's able to get in there to second base, and he gets the out. So that's the fielder's choice.
Hanahan is batting for Villarreal, so the Reds will march one more pitcher out there in the 9th inning. 2 innings worth of work, 2 runs given up by Villarreal with 3 hits, walk and a couple of strikeouts. Big hit yesterday for Hanahan. It was in the 1st inning. Bases loaded, 2 out. He muscled one into center field, just over the outstretched glove of the shortstop Pete Kozma, offsetting that run the Cardinals scored in the 1st with 2 of their own in the bottom. Never headed after that. Reds went on to win it 8-3. Hanahan comes in at 216 now with the 11 RBIs this year. Sam LeCure will be the Reds pitcher come the 9th inning. That's a 5-pitch walk to Hanahan. For 2 on with 2 out for Chu. Randy Choate is throwing in the St. Louis bullpen. He had that big out yesterday he recorded against Jay Bruce. Mike Matheny jogging out of the dugout on the third base side, the manager of the Cardinals.
Well, Matheny might ask Lance Lynn what he wants to do right here, and Lance Lynn probably, like 99% of the pitchers out there, will tell him, I feel fine. I want to get out of the inning. But again, you got to wonder what was really the advantage for the Cardinals to leave Lance Lynn in here. It's not like you've got an overworked bullpen, although they have had a lot of games in the last week. Probably will not come out to pitch the ninth inning. He's got 105 pitches coming up. Not that that's a tremendous amount, but remember, Lynn has never pitched a 200-inning season, and they're going to be asking him to do that later in the year as they go down the stretch.
So it's Chu with 2 on, 2 out.
He's handled Chu twice, 3 times, couple of strikeouts, and a lazy fly ball to center.
Scoots between the legs of Cruz and goes back to the backstop. Runners move up.
Boy, that looked like a cross-up right there that Cruz didn't know what to expect. He wasn't sure whether that ball was going to stay straight, whether it was going to sink. What the heck was going on right there? Watch how he attempts to catch this. That was at the very end of it. Actually, he had his fingers down at first, and then he put his fingers up. Probably a cross-up on the pitch selection.
That means a hit here by Chu could add 2 to his RBI total. He moved out of the way of that. Dan Bellino said strike. Almost hit him. Chu's been hit, of course, 22 times this year. Now a full count. One more will equal the second, which was his biggest pitch count inning of the game. Nowhere near his season high pitch count, which was 124 against the Mets back in May. He's at 109 now. And ball 4. Loads the bases with 2 out. Will bring Paul to the plate with a lefty Choate throwing in the bullpen. No move by Mike Matheny.
Well, he's struggling in this inning. This is the first inning in which he's walked 2 batters. He's kind of nibbled around the strike zone. Looks like he's lost a little bit on his fastball. And this is one of those kind of hanger-on innings right here. And if Paul can connect with one, it might make this a little bit more interesting.
Paul, of course, does have a grand slam. One of the 2 that the Reds have hit this year. His game is a pinch hitter against the Nationals.
Well, pretty good pitch there. Looking first pitch fastball against first pitch changeup.
Motto waits on deck. Then Phillips. Phillips has the other grand slam this year. Ball quickly down, 2 strikes. X-Man in this game is 0 for 3. Best ball he hit was that liner right back to Lynn in the first inning. Look at the dominance of Lance Lynn today. So much so that the Reds have not left a base runner on in this entire game. Gone down in order 5 times. Another 3-batter inning thanks to a double play. But now they have them loaded. Rocco's over at third. Hanahan out at second. Chu leads away at first. Paul, a strikeout victim, number 11 of the game for Lance Lynn. Big blow by Cardinal first baseman Matt Adams that came in the first inning. Put the finishing touches on a 4-run frame. Second time in 3 days. The Cardinals scored 4 times in the first. For Adams, it was his 8th home run of the year. Our Nissan drive of the game. Pedro Villarreal goes 2 innings, allows 2 runs, 3 hits. And now Sam LeCure will work the 9th. Matt Adams leads it off.
Well, 5 pitchers for Dusty Baker yesterday, and the game started by Tony Cingrani. Same for today. When Sam LeCure takes the mat, he will be pitcher number 5. Mike Leake went 5. Logan Ondrusek did not retire a batter in his outing. Ended up giving up 3 hits, a couple of runs. Alfredo Simon came to the rescue to get all 3 outs in that inning. Pedro Villarreal, a couple of innings, and now Sam LeCure.
Leadoff man gone here in the 9th.
Pretty good play by Brandon Phillips. Remind me a little bit of Wilson Pickett on that play.
Little pick and a casual spin right there by BP.
Anybody can do the spin and the throw to first. It's picking that hot shot down to your left is the tough part.
Well, as this Cardinal weekend comes to a close here at Great American Ballpark, we certainly hope you've enjoyed the pictures and the sounds that you have heard. Today's game being produced by Brian Hunterman, directed by Roy Alfers. Reds Live, pre and post, produced by our good friend Kent Dream Weaver. Associate producers Matt Sigafus, yes, the same Matt Sigafus who dials up the highlights most games. Alan Layton, also an associate producer with the graphics. Coordinating producer of Reds Baseball is Bob Pennell. Executive producer Fox Sports Ohio is Tom Farmer. Our wonderful statistician up here in the booth, as always, Joel Luckham. And lest we forget Jim Strickland to our right on camera. And we'll all be back at it come Tuesday night when the Oakland Athletics are here. Tony Cruz is 1 for 3 with a walk. Hard into left field, over the head of Paul and over the wall. First home run of the year for Tony Cruz, and it's a 10-run lead. Their third home run of the game for St. Louis. That is only the second career home run. Tony Cruz.
Now Sam McCure knows it as soon as it hits the bat. You can kind of see his reaction. Little cut fastball or slider trying to go away from him and just got it up a little bit. Been that kind of a day. Really been that kind of series for the Cardinal offense.
Cruz hit a home run last year against Miami, and he gets one here today against the Redlegs and Sam LeCure. Rob Johnson, the other catcher on this Cardinal team, is in the on deck area, so he will bat for Lynn. Descalzo trying to find the alley. Chu on the run. He can't get it. Goes to the wall. There goes Descalzo to second. He is held up there with a double. His second double of this game.
Well, even an inning in which you just hope to go out there and get him down 1, 2, 3. Try to keep it as tidy as you can. Gets out of hand sometimes. A home run by Cruz, a double by Descalzo. Been a long day in the field for the Reds. You know that stat they have in football? The time of possession stat.
Yes.
You know, in a way, you can adapt that to baseball. This time of standing in the field while the other team hits around. 16 hits for the Cardinals, 4 hits for the Reds. There's your time of possession.
Rob Johnson started yesterday behind the plate, went 0 for 3. Till the Yadier Molina injury, he had spent most of this year, if not all of this year, down at AAA Memphis. A run in on the home run by Tony Cruz. A double by Descalso means 16 hits now by the Cardinals. Certainly a day to forget from a baseball perspective for Dusty Baker's crew today. Silver lining today for the Reds. In the 7th inning in Boston, the Red Sox lead 4-0 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Reds started the day 4 games in the loss column ahead of Arizona for the final wild card spot in the National League.
Well, you know, for most of the season, all we were talking about are the teams that are right there with you or the teams that are ahead of you if you're a Reds fan. Talking about the Pirates, talking about the Cardinals.
Hit hard by Johnson to left. Over the head of the left fielder out there, Paul. Run is going to score. 13-2. 4th time for the Cardinals in the last 5 games that they've scored 13.
That seems like every curveball thrown by a Reds pitcher today's been a hanger. But back to my point about the teams that you're talking about, watching the scoreboard. Now all of a sudden Reds fans are, and you are, Jim Kelch, watching the team behind the Reds. I mean, for the longest time the Reds were so secure in a playoff spot, even though it would be a wild card spot, which gives you a 1-game play-in opportunity to get into the postseason. But now you're talking about following what the Arizona Diamondbacks are doing. This is what the wild card shapes up right now. So essentially the Cardinals are, what, 8.5 games secured into that spot.
Base hit into right field by Carpenter. 4 straight hits against offerings of Sam LeCure.
Boy. You know, this is the kind of outing that can undo statistically a month's worth of great work for Sam LeCure. I mean, the guy has been absolutely consistently right there every time the Reds have needed him, and now you come out in a mop-up situation like this. You give up a big number in an inning, and now your earned run average blows up, your hits per inning blow up, and all of a sudden it looks like you've had a mediocre year when you really have had a tremendous year.
Well, you talked about it last night when Aroldis Chapman came into the game with an 8-3 lead in a non-safe situation. Oftentimes we've seen him give up hits and walks in those kind of situations because the adrenaline is not there like it would be in a safe situation. And I would imagine it's the same thing for Sam today.
Yeah, it is. But the difference, I think, between a closer is the fact that you can easily identify statistically a close situation, a safe situation, for instance, when it's a little more difficult to do that for for a middle reliever. But you're exactly right. I mean, you're trying to get your work in, but meanwhile these guys are on a roll, and it's a kind of ball game, quite frankly, that when you hear the bell ring down there for that bullpen phone,
you don't want it to be here.
You ask Porky Lopez, hey, just please don't answer that. I'm not here. Oh my.
Another one that's going to find green grass. Is going to roll to the wall. Johnson scores. Carpenter coming home to roost. He will score. Then a 4-run inning. It is 15-2. This is the most runs the Reds have given up in a game this year.
And doubles are wild this afternoon, and maybe even really in this series. John Jay gets his 3rd hit. He gets on base for the 4th time. Cardinals have absolutely just steamrolled the Reds. 19 hits.
This is now the most runs that the Cardinals have scored in a game this year. They had scored 14 the first weekend of the season against San Francisco. Now they have produced 15 in this game. Pete Kozma batting for the first time. Homer by Cruz. This is all after Matt Adams grounded out. Homer by Cruz. Double by Descalso. Double by the pinch hitter Johnson. Single by Carpenter. 2-run double by John Jay. A 4 spot, a 5 spot, and a 4 spot in 3 different innings in this game for St. Louis. Kozma takes a called third strike.
Team man.
It's only the 6th strikeout. These fans don't even have free pizza to root on here in the 9th. Cardinals will have a new pitcher working against the Reds in the bottom of the 9th. This is Adron Chambers batting for the second time. He struck out in the 8th. That was against Pedro Villarreal. And he's down 2 strikes very quickly here. How about that, averaging 11 runs a game over the last 4 games, St. Louis.
You can win a lot of games that way. You can pad a lot of batting averages too.
Strikeout ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Reds upcoming. Very nice defensive play. Back at the top of the 2nd inning by Xavier Paul. Him tracking this ball. Started to come back to him. Reached up over the shoulder. Made the catch of that drive by the Cardinal shortstop Descalso. That's today's John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Well, Lance Lynn went 8 innings, allows 2 runs, 4 hits. for St. Louis. Struck out a season high 11, one shy of equaling his career best of 12. And the hard throwing Trevor Rosenthal comes into the game. Lotto due up. Derek Robinson bats for him. Robinson at .259 with 7 RBIs this year. 6 for 21 as a pinch hitter. Corky Miller is on deck to bat for Phillips. To the second baseman, Carpenter. 1 out. Now Corky Miller bats for Brandon Phillips. Nice pick by Adams down there, and that smash by Corky Miller. And there are 2 out.
Boy, can anything get any better for the Cardinals right now?
If it can, I can't think of it.
I mean, it's a nice play, no doubt, by Matt Adams. He goes down there and just scoops up a very tough ground ball. And you know, first time you see it, you think it's luck. The more you see that, you realize that's a pretty good bit of glove work right there.
Backhand over third by Cruz, and his throw to first is in time. Reds go down in order in the bottom of the 9th. And this beatdown by St. Louis comes to an end as they hammer the Reds this afternoon. 15-2, the final score, and in the process, the Cardinals take 2 out of 3 in the series. And so, indeed, this team will need to regroup for the Oakland series.
Well, at least they're getting a day off tomorrow, and maybe that'll give them a little bit of a breather and maybe some time to check the mirror out and find out which one of them needs to take control of this ball club and come back out with a little bit more vigor when it comes to Tuesday and the Oakland A's coming to town.
Lance Lynn gets his 13th win. Mike Leake falls to 10-5. We'll come back with Reds Live postgame presented by Kings Honda next.